Our topic today is how do you balance private practice when you are a mama? So this one is for all of my moms out there that are either in private practice or thinking about going into private practice. And like, as I was thinking about answering this question, I'm like maybe the wrong person to answer because it really does feel like a balance most days. It really feels sometimes like you're being pulled in many different directions, depending on what your role is in your family, in your private practice, in your own life. And, people constantly say, take care of yourself, take care of yourself, take care of yourself. But when you think about all the other things that you have to take care of, that can be very difficult. I know that, just for myself, and sometimes the things that I want to do, just naturally get put on the back burner. And so I'm just here to say that that's really, I think, very normal. I think that there are ways that we can, push a different narrative about making sure that moms, women, parents in general take care of themselves, and that, we're not putting our needs aside, and that we're doing a balance that, is balanced and not just, off kilter. But when you're in private practice, it's not generally 9 to 5, right? You have maybe off hours, you work late some nights, there's no backup for you, right? Sometimes you have a job and you can call out of work and somebody just takes over your spot, or they fill it in. Or, when you work at an agency, I remember like somebody would call out of work and then somebody else would run their group, or we'd collapse the groups, right? When you're in private practice, nobody can see your clients. Only you see your clients. It's really important to have systems in place to manage whatever things that may come up in your life. So one thing that I know, depending on how comfortable you are, having honest conversations with your clients, if you have a little one at home, they will probably know that because you would have just been pregnant, and they would have seen you during your journey and saying, listen, I have a little one at home. If they get sick, if they get, if something happens, I may have to leave session, or I might have to cancel in very short notice. And so having an open dialogue with your clients so they know that maybe you won't be available in the ways that you were before. I know that was like a really big thing for me is, I used to work, a set amount of hours. I worked late evenings. And when I was pregnant, that really shifted for me. And that was a really big conversation I had to have with a lot of my clients. A lot of people were accustomed to seeing me after their work hours, and that just didn't work anymore. And so I think the conversations we have with our clients, again, in a way that we feel comfortable with having those conversations, you don't have to disclose, a bunch of information about your personal life, but letting them know, like, yes, I may have to cancel on you the day before or even the day of if my child is in daycare, right? Like, and they get sick or, whatever happens, you may have to go and pick up your child, and that's what you're going to need to do and you're going to do, and you may not be able to hold your sessions in the same way. Having backup to things, that's one thing that I learned is like, and I'm not great at it. So I'm only, sharing advice that I've gotten from other people and things that I'm trying to implement is like having a backup to your backup. Like if you have daycare and there's a chance that you'll get called because everybody complains about getting called from daycare. Do you have a family member that can maybe step in? Even if you have a nanny, if you have the means for a nanny, and your nanny gets sick, do you have a backup for that? Do you have a family member? Do you have a village? Do you have somebody that can step in? Can your spouse stay home from work if you need to see clients? Another thing a lot of people do, and I was just talking to a supervision group that I'm in on Friday about this, and they had mentioned, some of the women in that group mentioned that when they started going back to see clients, they would see them in their afternoon when their husbands were at home, or on Saturdays when their husband was at home, because then they always knew there was somebody there that they trusted, that, knew the systems, knew everything. So then they didn't have to maybe necessarily do daycare, but they were able to do it in a way where it worked for their family. So it's not easy to try to balance all of this, being a new mom, seeing what other moms have gone through. And so be gentle with yourself. That would be another thing that I would say. to anybody who is thinking about becoming a mom and is a therapist. We teach our clients all the time to be gentle with themselves, and then sometimes we have a really hard time doing that. So I think that's really important. I'm going to give you a couple other tips on how to manage being a mom in private practice. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes. If you're looking for an electronic health record that will make your life easier, will allow you to have a free telehealth option, has great customer service, has billing, you can take credit card payments, you can write notes, there's a client portal, all in one, please be sure to check out TherapyNotes. So we've talked about having support systems, having conversations with your clients, being gentle with yourself. And I will say it is really important to prioritize your life. I know that was a big thing for me. I was used to being able to do a lot of things, especially prior to the pandemic. I was used to being able to go to a lot of places, be at a lot of things, see a lot of clients, be there for my family, be there for my friends, and really stretch myself thin, which my personality is fine with that. I enjoyed that. But what ended up happening with the pandemic is I really learned to slow down, and being pregnant really reinforced that. And now having a child, even though I'm not slowing down because now he's big enough and he's moving and shaking, but I've learned to prioritize and to realize what's important in my life, and that some things that were important before, and it's not necessarily that they're not important, it's just other things take priority. And so take a look at what your priorities are and how you can shift those. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you later, mamas. Bye.